Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Monday. I kind of freaked that up. Okay, you guys, I have Maydog with me here today. And if you saw my Instagram story, we have a new sleeping arrangement. Something that really bothers me is back in the day, pre-Carter, I used to go back and forth between sleeping with May in the bed and sleeping her without. And I had a queen bed prior. So there's enough room, but this bitch would lay sideways and she always has to be touching me. So she'd wake me up. So then I'd get pissed and then I'd put her on the floor. And then that would last for a week. And then I would feel bad that this precious little angel is on the floor. We go back and forth. We do the whole thing. Anywho, she's been sleeping. Well, first, when we moved into this apartment, she was on the couch, you guys. I cannot believe she used to just sleep on the couch. Which is like no big thing, just about the evolution of it. Then we converted, the bedroom or the closet into her bedroom, our walk-in closet, because how that happened was we went on vacation. We went on that month-long road trip and I stuck a bed back there in underneath my clothes. And one day when we got back, I look over and she's in my clothes. I can barely see her head poking out of the clothes. She found the bed and she was laying in it. So then I was like, I never thought maybe she'll like sleeping in here. So we had her bed in there. But then every once in a while, Carter will look at me as we're going to bed and he's like, babe, can May sleep with us? And the problem is we have a king bed. Okay, me and Cutie Carter have a king bed and Cutie Carter takes up 2/3 of the bed. Let me remind you, he is 6'2" and 220 pounds. He's a large man and he just naturally takes up more space than me. So when May is in the bed, does she take up any of his space? No, she's on my side. She's touching me. She's laying against me. So then my already 1/3 of the bed is now half of that. I got 1/6 of the bed. 1/6 is for May. And then the other 4/6 is for Carter. So I get really pissed off and then I sleep really bad. Well, I was thinking, what if we had an extendo bed? We always talk about getting an Alaskan king, not now, but once we have a home. And that way we can all cuddle. These are the important things, you guys. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have these stools. The one I sit on to film this podcast that I have at the edge of the bed that I got from Target. I'm like, why don't I? Because I've tried this before. Well, actually, I tried to put her bed on the things and then Carter was like, no, what if she falls? Because her bed takes up pretty much the whole space. I'm like, how would she fall? And I'm not sure if we tried it or not, but this bitch will just hop into the bed any second she can. So I, every single night, have been moving these they're little square ottoman deals. I've been moving them to my side because when she's near me and I hear her fussing, I can just put my arm out and then she'll stop. Okay, so I put the things over there. I take her big May bed, the maroon one, and I set it on top of the things. So she's right there with us. So she's been sleeping next to us for almost the past week, I think. And things have been going great. And then right at 5 a.m. when our alarm goes off, she hops onto the bed and she cuddles and it's just been so much fun. Okay, let's get into the important things. Ring shopping. I'm so scared, you guys. We talk about getting married and having, or getting eloped and getting eloped. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but getting engaged and the whole thing. We talk about it, but in our heads, in my head, I quite literally just told you guys on my stories, I'm like, we're not getting engaged, right? I've been talking about the fall photos and everybody's like, oh my gosh, engagement. I'm like, you dumb bitches, no. Then I'm here the very next week, we went ring shopping, it's happening. But you guys, I still stand by what I said because up until that moment, there was no engagement in sight, none. Okay, so let's talk about how we got here. We have been dating a year and a half. You guys, can you believe that April 15th is our anniversary? That's when we had our first date. So we just say that because we were essentially boyfriend and girlfriend at that point. It just, you guys know the vibes. You were here. However, so April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, October 15th would have been a year and 6 months. So we've been dating a year and a half, which is so freaking crazy. But you guys, let's start from the actual top. Last year, my sweet, sweet, precious, I think I should say their names, Jagan and Becca at Olive Ave reached out to me. Becca reached out first. She's the one I text with. from Olive Ave Jewelry, which they are primarily engagement rings, but they also do necklaces, earrings. Like they're a jewelry store, but it's like a family owned jewelry store in Phoenix, in Mesa. Okay, Mesa is a suburb or whatever of Phoenix. They reached out last year, like early, like I want to say in the summertime, just to send me a ring. Cause like PR, that's, not out of the norm. Well, I communicated with them. They sent me this ring. I was so thankful. I chatted with them. Like they were just incredible. Loved them. Well, we planned our road trip last December. You guys, when we went to Colorado and Utah and all of the places, we were going through Phoenix to get over to San Diego. Carter has grandparents in Phoenix. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, could we stop in and just like say hello? And I wasn't even thinking engagement rings. I didn't really realize they were primarily engagement ring store. They were a engagement ring store. I just thought they were jewelry because all I had to go off of was their website, and they sent me a ring. So like, I didn't even think anything of it. I reached out. I just wanted to like pop in and say hi because I loved them so much and just like look at things, maybe get like a necklace or something. Well, they get back. They're like, oh my gosh, yes, let's set you up an appointment to look at engagement rings. I'm like, oh, so obviously like this is nothing that would scare Carter, but I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, it's like a engagement ring appointment. I'm like, is that okay? And he's like, yeah, of course. Like, why don't we go look? That could be fun. And I'm like, oh my gosh, amazing. Love. So we did look at engagement rings a year ago. Well, this was December, so almost a year ago. But it was kind of just like a learning and just like saying hi to these girls and whatever. But it was like the most fun thing of my life. And we learned so much. Like we and I personally, like as a woman, I know nothing about diamonds. I know nothing about engagement rings. I still know nothing. I learned a little bit, but it's still like so overwhelming. So we went in December to Olive Ave in Phoenix and had an appointment with them, and they got a swig. I remember talking about this way back when. They were amazing. They literally brought us swig, the coffee or the pop. Oh my gosh, soda. Sorry, Midwest. The pop stores or whatever, because Mormons don't drink coffee. Swig. Hello. If you've been on TikTok, if you've been online, you know what swig is. And it was delicious. Okay, but they got it for us. And then we sat there and the appointment was for like an hour or two. And they taught us about everything having to do with diamonds. I tried some on, like kind of just got an idea. I remember I went to the bathroom and like they spoke with Carter individually, just kind of about timeline. And at that point, he still had a semester left. Like it's very much just like money and just, could we have gotten engaged over a year ago? Like we, I think early on knew that we wanted to be with each other forever. Oh my gosh, Presh. Oh my gosh, goals. Also, gag. I know. I'm sorry. However, at that point, like, again, we don't want to have a wedding, which we'll talk about in a little bit when I talk about wedding culture. And so on one hand, it's like, yeah, could he have gotten a $200 ring and proposed and I would have said yes and it would have been amazing? Yes. But it's also like, we're just going to run down to the courthouse. I've actually tried to get Carter to just go to the courthouse with me without a ring to just like be legally married, only because I want to conjoin our finances and like take care of all of our, my name switch and like all of those things, which if you think that's crazy, I could understand. But like, again, I think me and Carter talked about these things early on and we were very serious about each other. So to me, it's just like, okay, we kind of operate that way anyway. So it's just like not a big deal. And we aren't going to have a wedding anyways. So just with also like healthcare, things with Carter's work, taxes, like I was trying at one point, I'm like, why don't we get this done before the end of the year? That way, like when we do the taxes, we do everything, we'll start fresh. We're together. I'll get all the documents, whatever, which Carter wasn't opposed to it, but like, it wasn't a serious conversation. Like I kind of joked about it. I just want to get this shit done with, to be honest. Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. However, they talk timeline. Oh, so the ring. So like, yeah, could he have proposed a year ago with a little tiny nothing ring and that would have been great? Of course. Like that's not what it's about. But then it's also like, okay, well, we know we're going to get married. So like there is no rush. I mean, it still has only been a year and a half, but like I don't care. It could go any way, one or the other. I would be happy as a clam. So Carter, obviously, he honestly, you guys, I need to talk more about who Carter is. he is bougier than I am. Like, Carter wants me to have a nice ring for his sake. Like, he wants his associates to know, people that, come in contact with us. Like, he thinks that the ring is a reflection of him. And so he's honestly more particular than I am and wants a bigger ring than, not that I do. Like, okay, we'll talk about that. Brenna, bitch. Just stay on track for once in your goddamn life. So anyways, we did that over a year ago. Well, obviously law school goes by. Bart, we talk about it and we're like, okay, once he, starts working, obviously, but then we wanted to take care, again, the credit card, the student loans. We've talked about this 100 times. Amazing. So like, I was thinking, and it was very loosely planned, like early next year, summer next year, because by that time, like a lot of the finances will be taken care of and he'll have more of a cash flow kind of. And so that's amazing. Whatever. Well, Grandpa calls. I don't know what I was going to say. Grandpa. Okay. He is the one who got this in motion. So if you didn't see on my Instagram story, we were sitting down. So like literally, you guys, this is a week after I posted, we're not getting engaged. The photo shoot, like that's not going to happen. I'm talking about Hawaii. Everybody's like, you're going to get engaged in Hawaii. And I'm like, no. Cause that was like not going to, like, I know. Number one, Carter is like the worst liar in the world. Like, I would know if something was up. And this is the problem with just getting engaged in general. I'm going to know the day of. Like, there's just no way. His mannerisms and things have already been off, and I'm like, I can read you like a motherfucking book. Okay. Anyways, so up until this point, nothing. And Carter's mom calls last week, like Thursday, and I was cooking dinner. He was sitting on the couch and he wasn't doing a lot of talking, so I knew she was going on and on about something. And he's kind of laughing, and he said something, like he made a joke, I heard, that was like, yeah, well, if he would pay off my student loans, then I could. And I was like, oh, so they're talking about Grandpa. Like, he said something along those lines, or then I would. Again, I'm biffing this completely, but like something along those lines. Well, he gets off the phone and he's like laughing, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like, how is she? And he's like, my grandpa, the one who is taking us to Hawaii for Thanksgiving. So his grandpa, his dad's dad, is the one paying for all of us to go. And it is all families. So it's aunts, uncles, and then their families as well. And so he called Carter's mother to ask if Carter was proposing in Hawaii. She calls to tell him. And at first, I was like, why didn't he just call you and ask? And apparently his grandma, okay, so obviously his grandpa's wife, thought that was like rude or something. And she talked to him like, don't call him and ask. Like, don't push that on him, And I don't know why, just because like older people, like with the time, she probably felt like that was like overstepping, which like to me, nothing is overstepping. However, that was that. I was like, oh my gosh, for real? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, well, like, how did that conversation go? And apparently, so this is obviously Carter's telling me this, and we don't know what like the conversation was, his mom and his grandpa, but what his mom said was like, she's like, I don't think so. I think they're trying to take care of dad and whatever, like he doesn't have any money to get a ring right now. And his grandpa's like, get a gold band. Like, we have a photographer. We're at the Ritz-Carlton. We're in Hawaii. Like, why wouldn't he propose? And I'm like, honestly, grandpa, which, of course, when we first learned that we were going to Hawaii, this was like a joke that we made. Like, it's too obvious. I was like, oh, babe, you could propose in Hawaii. Like, that's beautiful. You think of like photos and whatever. Not that I give a flying tit about like photos and things. I just want it to be special. Everybody says that, and every engagement is special in its own way. So like, bitch, shut the fuck up. However, apparently grandpa's like, well, why isn't he? Like, I got this photographer, which we had no idea he had a photographer to get like family photos done. And so that's kind of what he meant. And she was just like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think so. But like literally, and it's so funny because Carter's grandpa is similar to my grandpa. Like, he is a very, just like old man, just like dun dun dun, like he talks about business, and he honestly isn't super chatty unless it's like something of note to talk about. And like my grandpa doesn't call anybody, so like the fact that he went out of his way to call, like he clearly has been thinking about it, which is just like amazing and hilarious to me. So that was Thursday night. That was last Thursday. So we laugh, we talk about it, haha, whatever. Well, we wake up, okay, and it's Friday, and Carter goes to work, and he comes home a little bit earlier, I think at like 4, and he walks in the door, and he said, babe, we're gonna go ring shopping tonight. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, thank you, Grandpa. I love you. Not that I've been like sitting here like dying and waiting, but of course it's just so exciting. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, no. Oh, because the night before I was also like, I understand. Because here's the thing. We have this debt. We have these loans that we have to pay off. Like either you're going to be paying these off, like you're going to pay these off and then immediately right after drop a few $1,000s on a ring. Like it's just going to be another added, like it's going to come right after. I know that's going to be his first next purchase. So I'm like, you could just these next 2 paychecks, we cover rent and that, hold off on the credit card or like the student loans for one goddamn second, just buy the ring now. Like I was like, it's really not that different. I'm like, I want you to do whatever makes you happy and comfortable, and I don't want you stressing. But number 1, you're stressing anyways. But number 2, like, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, it's just going to come bing, bang, boom anyways. Or if he wanted to wait a second, but like, really, at some point he's going to buy it. I wasn't sure at the time, but I assumed you can finance a ring, which isn't the best. I don't think if you don't have to finance something, don't. But I'm just like, while you already have thousands of dollars in student loan debt, let's just chuck another, because the ring isn't going to be that much. Like we're obviously going to get a lab diamond. So like, it's not that expensive. It's not cheap by any means, but you know what I mean? So I just kind of said that on Thursday night. So then Friday he comes home and he's like, let's go ring shopping. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's the change in heart? In heart? You know the phrase. And he's like, no, you're so right. And we were talking about like, what am I waiting for? Like I've wanted to get engaged. Like, but Carter, similar to me, like we spiral about money. Not that we're in a bad place, just about the debt and things. Like finances are obviously the most important thing to us in this world. Like if you have no money, you can't live, and like nobody wants to have finance stress. But he's like, you're so right. And I just want to do it. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm so excited. And he just had, oh, this was another thing. Well, number 1, when we were just home in San Diego, his 2 friends that we went out with, they just got engaged. Like, I think it's also like an effect like of other people around us being engaged, because them, and we talked to them and they were so excited. And then his friend who started at the firm with him, who also just graduated from SMU Law, proposed on Friday, on that day. Okay. So on Thursday night, I picked Carter up and he came out with this guy who I know pretty well. Like I've been to events with him and whatever. They both came out with flowers, and he came up to the window, not Carter, but his friend. And he's like, oh my gosh, do you want to see the ring? He was proposing the next day, Friday. Okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, you're just carrying it around, but like, yes. And he opened it up and it was like this beautiful, it was like I think it was a pear shape. Honestly, I'm not even really like, I love a good ring, but I'm not like that enamored. I'm not like, wow, oh my gosh, let me get all these details. Again, I don't know anything, but it was gorgeous. It was like a simple, it had 2 side stones as well. And the diamond was passed down from his grandma, which is fresh. So he just had the ring redone. He took the diamond and then got a new band and like side stones or whatever. Anyways, he came and he had flowers, and Carter was like, this fool has gotten her flowers every single day this week. And I was like, that's cute though. Like, yeah, she might suspect it. Like if this isn't something he normally does, but I have a friend who, it's one of my guy friends from back in Bismarck who moved to Phoenix. He got engaged like a year or 2 ago. Honestly, I haven't talked to him in a long time because like he's now married. I think they're pregnant. I'm obviously with Carter. Like we would chat every once in a while. I don't know why that fucking matters. Anyways, I remember seeing her post and she woke up and he had left out a coffee, or he had gone and gotten her a coffee and left a note like, okay, nails at 10. And it was like very obvious something was happening, and he laid out a dress. But like the whole day she documented, like obviously she knew it was happening. And I was explaining this to Carter, but I'm like, that's still so special and like so sweet. Like that whole day was hers. And like she was just so excited. Like, yes, of course she knew that night she was going to get proposed to, but that doesn't make it any less special. I'm like, that's cute. So the fact that his friend was like bringing home flowers every day, I'm like, that's precious. Like they're going to remember this week and this engagement forever. Like that's cute. I was like, I don't dog that. Like I love that. Cause Carter was like, well, she's going to know if he's bringing flowers. I'm like, yeah, but like, there's so many different ways you can do things. I think it's all special. I think it's all fresh. Anyways, so all of that being said, with the friends we just saw in San Diego, and then now his friend literally engaging, proposing to his girlfriend that evening. They did it here in Dallas, like at a park or something. I need to see photos, people. However, I think Carter was just kind of like, yeah, like let's freaking do it. And also, yeah, once we started talking about it, like it was exciting. So he got home Friday at 4. He said that we talked a little. I'm like, oh my gosh. I obviously posted that video on my story. I think I posted it late because we kind of got like a whirlwind. Carter had a few phone calls. He had to finish work. And then at 6, we left our apartment, and right by us, there is a Grown Brilliance and there's a Brilliant Earth. So typically, obviously, if you really want to look at rings, like you set up an appointment, that way they can bring stones out, you sit down, you look at the rings, whatever. Well, we were just dropping in. I was like, at the very least, we can go look, kind of like whatever, see, I don't know, because I forgot everything from a year ago. I roughly remember like the stone I like. Well, there was a few up at this point. Like, I'm just not super particular. And I also wanted Carter's like input. However, we walk over to Grown Brilliance. Hello, bitch. Sorry, I can't speak. And we pop in, and they had an appointment at 6, but they let us like walk around and look. And then we set up an appointment with them for Sunday. We're like, okay, we'll come back. We walked around the corner over to Brilliant Earth, and we went in, and nobody was in there. And this girl started helping us. And in the like staging little boxes, they have rings with, what is that? Cubic zirconia. It's like essentially a faux diamond, like what you might get at Claire's, I think. Maybe I'm not even correct, but like something that's not a real diamond, because obviously if somebody came in there and like stole all of the rings. But so she was like pulling out. And the nice thing, which it's kind of hard to tell, at Brilliant Earth, which it's a beautiful store, she would put the ring on me with the stone down. So she'd bring over a band, and then they have those clear little panels. So they're clear, but they have stones built into them. They have 0.25, 0.5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can kind of see on your hand. Obviously, it's kind of still hard to tell because it's on this panel, but I was able to look at the stones on my hand and kind of narrow down. There were a few that I do not like. I don't need to get into specifics, but I can. You guys, I also should preface, when I start talking about rings, when I start talking about weddings, when I start talking about this culture, if I say anything that you don't agree with, I'm sorry. And that's okay. We all have our own opinions. And that is the beautiful thing about this life. So I don't want to like piss anybody off, which also, once I get a ring, if somebody says they don't like that kind of stone, okay, it's not their stone. So like, also, if you get offended like that, that's a you problem. But anyway, so I don't personally, I like symmetry. So the pair, which I guess they're all kind of symmetrical depending on, whatever. I don't really love the pear shape. Just for me personally, it doesn't do it for me. I don't like the marquee, just like the skinny, like tall, don't love that. And those are the two obviously like the heart shape, anything like kind of out there in shape, don't love. And so narrowed that down. So then we're kind of looking at like everything else, which leaves like, emerald, cushion, round, square, or princess, oval, like, and every time I put them on, I'm like, okay, but there was one I was definitely drawn to. And I also don't really look on Pinterest. Like, I love beautiful rings and like stacks and things like that, but I don't have like a Pinterest board per se of like an exact ring that I like. Like, I think ovals are beautiful. I think emeralds are beautiful. I think rounds are beautiful. I think princesses are beautiful. Like, I think they all are just gorgeous. So it was really nice to go in and just kind of like it was clear that there was a certain one I liked. I'm not going to tell you guys because I want to surprise you when it happens. I'm sorry. A lot of you have asked and I'm like, nope. You'll find out when I find out. Well, I already know, but you'll find out once I post photos, which we'll talk about that. Anywho. So this woman helped us and it was great. So she was like, let's set up an appointment to like really sit down. Like this was not really a real appointment. So we set that for like the next week or something was the earliest available. Well, we're walking around and there's this little Italian spot that we like. So we popped in and it was just so fun, you guys. Like, oh, that was what was so great about like Olive Ave and the appointment with them. It was so fun to be with Carter in that setting and like listen to his opinion and like interact and like look at the diamonds. And like, it's just something so fun to do with your partner. Like me and Carter on the day to day, you know, he gets home from work, we watch TV, like it's so fun. And obviously just talking about an engagement and like, you know, that is just an exciting topic. So it was just so sweet. We went to this Italian restaurant. It was full, but they had seats at the bar. So we sat at the bar and we were kind of just talking about it and what we like. And I was like, let's look at Blue Nile. There's a Blue Nile in North Park Center, which is our mall. And I just did a collaboration with Blue Nile. I was like, love them. Let's go in and let's see if online we can book an appointment. So we're sitting there waiting for our food and Carter posts up their website and we could get a 10 a.m. for the next morning. So Saturday morning, I'm like, let's do it. He had to make a return for his Travis Matthews pants. And then I was like, we'll go vote after because where I wanted to vote was like on the way. I'm like, perfection. Great, because we kind of just like wanted to figure it out, you know, like let's really like sit down, try on the rings, see what shape and the size that you like. Well, anyways, we finish at the Italian restaurant, we come home, we go to bed, we wake up and we get ready and we go to North Park Center to Blue Nile. And we have this guy, Alejandro, who was so great and fresh. And I told him the shape that I particularly like. And he pulled out different sizes and different bands and different things. And you guys, I'm a basic bitch through and through. There was one crazy motherfucking ring that I saw way back when that is expensive, but I really like. So I was either like, I want this crazy ring or I want the most like timeless, simple. Part of me goes back and forth and I get it. I'm sure every girl has this. You're like, I don't want to get a ring that everybody has, but it's also like, who the fuck cares? And it's like beautiful. You all know, like a solitaire, just like a band and the diamond. I just love that look. I don't dig the halo. I don't really dig the side stones either. Like I want just like the diamond to be on display and then you can fancy it up with the bands. I think I'll always love it. Not that I also wanted to talk about appreciating something for like its time period. For example, like those halo engagement rings, there was like a moment in time where everybody was getting them. Like I also love that. And I don't think you would ever hate your ring. And it just like is a moment in time. Oh my gosh, I saw this video of Nara Smith and her husband, Lucky Smith. Is his last name Smith? I know that's a dumb question, but I think, right? Anywho. They had asked them, they were on a carpet and they're like, what's the worst, you know, trend or like fashion fad that you've partaken in or whatever, something like that. And Nara was like skinny jeans. She was like, skinny jeans. And then they went to Lucky and he's like, nothing. He's like, everything was like great in the moment. It was a sleigh, like similar to, remember in college. Okay. Well, this is a time period as well. Like 2015, 2016. I always see these trending videos on TikTok, the black top with the lace on the chest part and the choker necklaces. Like, yes, if you look at the photo, it's cringe, but it's like in the moment, that was it. And I love that. Like, I hate when we kind of dog on things that like were from a time's past. Like that was just the trend. And I love that. So I think it's the same with your ring. Like, unless it's something crazy out there, like if you liked it now or like it now, like I think you'll always love it. So I go back and forth. Anywho, but I also like sometimes I don't love like when the band like swirls and like some of it is just like too much and it reminds me of like, I don't know. I just don't like it. So I'm a basic bitch. So like what you're going to see is like nothing groundbreaking. However, I think I love it. And I kind of just like, oh, the one bougie thing. I don't even need a big carrot size. I just want that ring to like stand out. I want that thing to be on display. I'm sorry, I do. Sue me. Okay, but back to the story. So we pick out one that I like, a simple ass basic ring. We go over the cost, and the one that I was trying on was like a 1.7 carat, and like it looked so good on my hand. Like there is something about too, like if you do have a Pinterest board, rings look different on your hand. Like there was one that I thought I would like a certain shape, and then on my finger I was like, ew, that's kind of disgusting. That's kind of not that cute. So when you like have an idea, I was explaining this to my best friend, that you have the Pinterest board, the things, and even like bands, which we didn't look at now because we don't need to, but it does look different. And like the size, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like 1.7, like it's perfection. It was like so nice on my hand. So we kind of had a range, and he pulled up. So we sat down, he pulled up like different, because obviously if you've ever been on these websites, you pick a setting and then you go through like the diamonds, because there's this clarity and cut and I'm like, just give me the blangiest within reason, like the top, 3 best. I don't care. I don't know the fucking difference. I'm not a diamond expert. Oh, something that I wanted to talk about. Lab diamond. Ooh, this is going to be a little bit controversial. Versus natural diamond. Is that what you call it? So you have a lab diamond versus a natural. At this point, okay, this is where the hot take comes in. If you are buying a natural diamond, okay, over a lab diamond, what the fuck are you doing? Why would you willingly choose to pay $20,000 more for the same thing? I'm sorry. And if you want to die on that hill of natural over lab, pop off. I will die on my hill. Because really at this point, like moving forward, when I see somebody get engaged, like I just assume it's a lab diamond. And I don't need you to tell me if it is or it isn't. Like I'm just assuming, because why on earth would you ever spend what a natural diamond costs when we now have lab diamonds? Like, I'm sorry. If it was passed down from the family, for example, Carter's colleague who just got engaged, like that was his grandma's, like that's a natural, cool, but like nobody gives a fuck. Like I'm not gonna ask people when I see them, is that natural or is it lab? Number one, I'm gonna assume it's a lab, but like it is a diamond. Like it doesn't fucking matter. And people are so weird on the internet, but like really, I just like cannot, my finance brain cannot understand why on earth anybody, even if you are a millionaire, why would you still spend $20,000 more for something that's like, what? For the same thing? It is. I'm sorry. It's the same thing. Like we can't really, I get that how it's not, but it is. Nobody can tell unless you are a diamond aficionado, like unless diamonds like run in your family and you are so drawn to them, like, okay, whatever, do what you want to do. But like, I just will never understand that. And no offense, but like, ugh, Brenna, don't be a bitch. But if you get a natural diamond at this point and it's like a big diamond, people are going to assume probably that it's a lab diamond. And if you feel like you need to tell them, like nobody's going to give a fuck. Nobody's going to care that you spent $30,000 more on that thing. Like it's just weird, if you want to like flex like that, because why would you? I can get that same ring for $30,000 less or $20,000. You know what I mean? So that's my hot take there. Again, do what you want. If it runs in the family, if you are just like, so if you work at a jewelry store and there's some reason that you want that, of course, like live your best life. But at this point on, if you are a regular person just like me, even if your parents are paying for that, if your parents were paying for that ring, tell them that you'll get a natural, get that $30,000, go get a lab, pocket the $25,000. I'm not kidding. Like, why would you? Like, why would you do that? I just cannot get it. So anyways, of course, a lab diamond, like why would we spend, oogles and oogles, or you can get a smaller carat, sure. But again, why? Why are people like dying to protect natural diamonds? I don't get it. It's something that I don't care about. I don't have the cause. Anywho, that's that. So we leave Blue Nile, we go over and return Carter's pants, and then we were going to go vote, but Carter, I could tell, was getting angsty, and I'm like, are you hungry? And I'm like, we cannot do anything if you don't eat. So we walked over to Breadwinners and got breakfast. It was just such a fun weekend to like go out and about and like shop and go out to eat. Like it was probably my favorite weekend ever, besides like our travel weekends. And we were going to the Arboretum on Sunday too. So it's just like a big date weekend. But we go to Breadwinners, we leave, we go and vote, we come home. And then that was that. We sit down, we had a night. We wake up Sunday morning and we start talking about money again because, at Blue Nile, Alejandro asked me to leave. So like we went over the rings. We were talking about money. He was like, can you step aside so we can talk timeline? Cause like it's ship, whatever. So I went outside. Carter and him spoke for a while and that was that. We get home and I'm like, babe, Sunday morning, we started talking about finances again, and Carter gets on this thing and we start going through the budget and we start looking at the bills and he's he's pissed off, he's stressed, he's anxious. I'm like, babe, like literally almost ruined the whole Sunday. Like he just gets very, and I get it. Like it doesn't bother me as much because it's not my debt that I'm staring at. It is because I view it as ours, but like that is really his money. And the thing is that he signed on with this huge, salary, expecting to like have money. And you think like, I'm making this much, I'm going to be rolling in it. And every single dollar that comes in has been going out to like debts and things. And it's like, I get it. Like that is so just like defeating and just like, it sucks. Like life is expensive. Groceries are expensive. Everything. Oh, that's my other thing with the diamonds. Like, shit is so expensive. And this is like weddings as a whole. Like things are so expensive now. Like why would you ever spend more money than you have to? You know what I mean? But anyways, so Sunday he starts spiraling. So I'm like, babe, we can wait. Like you do not need to get this ring now. Like we went and looked. We now know you can wait. Amazing. So whatever. It wasn't like a finished conversation, but I'm just trying to like talk him down and like get him not so riled up and stressed. And so we hang out, we go to the gym, we go to the Arboretum. So we went over, and this is the first time we've been since our third date. So we brought the cards, we sit down our little picnic blanket, we sit there, we go through cards, which was so nice. And we talked about so many things again, just like family and when will you made it, and just like such good conversations, because I love learning like what's important to Carter and what we've learned from our parents and like how we want to parent and kids, and like I don't know, I love that. And then we walked around, we got home, had a normal Sunday. Oh my gosh, Carter was like, what are we doing for dinner? And I'm like, I don't know, what do you want? Like there's a few things I can make. And he goes into the freezer and I got tortellini from Costco frozen, which I typically don't do that. When I make the chicken tortellini, I get fresh tortellinis from Central Market, but I'm like, it would be nice to just have these on hand. That way in a moment like right now, but he digs in there. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I got those, but I knew there were crispy chicken nugget strips that he could put in the air fryer. I'm like, oh my gosh. So he opens the freezer and I'm like, yeah, those chickens are in there. And he pulls out the tortellinis and he looks at me. I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's starving at this point. So I'm like, I gotta go quick. Which was good. We had dinner, we go to bed. So we wake up Monday, we go to the gym, he goes to work, and I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, it's not going to happen now. Like he was stressing yesterday, the money, like not going to happen anytime soon. I'm talking to you guys on stories. Now I'm like, I got their hopes up again. Everybody's like, Hawaii. I'm also thinking, you guys, that Hawaii would be too obvious. And here's the other thing. And if you know Carter or his family, I don't want anybody to take it this way. And quite literally all of my friends said this to me. They're like, would you want to be around family like when you get engaged? And this goes to my own. Like I wouldn't even want to be around my own family. Like I just want it to be me and Carter. So I'm like, is Hawaii the best spot? And I love his family. Like I do love his family, but it's just like me. And you guys know me. Like I'm independent. I love Carter. Like I don't have like a dream engagement at all. Like I think anything that he chooses to do would be special. But all of my friends are like, bitch, would you want that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, of course. Like it would be phenomenal either which way. And they all said the same thing. But like I'm not that person. And we'll get into this. Like whenever you see, and this has become just like the fad and the trend, like the engagement and then the families like hiding, they fly, which Carter's friend did this just this past Friday. He flew in her whole family or had them fly in so they could surprise her. And I'm like, that's so fucking cute and fun and fresh for people that like love that and love to be around people. That's not me. Like that is not my dream scenario. Like I want to get engaged and I just want to sit there in bliss with Carter, and I want to like go to a dinner after and like good talk about all of the things leading up to it. Like I don't want to be bombarded by just like anybody. That's just not my dream. But Also, like Hawaii is so glaringly obvious now, so I have no idea. But anyways, Monday, I'm like, okay, it's gonna get pushed off. Totally fine, totally great. I don't care. Like that's what I was planning. It does not make a difference to me. Well, I was like, I'm going to reach out. And I told Carter this on Sunday. I'm like, let me reach out to Olive Ave and talk to them because number one, I think it might be cheaper because they're like more of a mom pa store, and I was like, I just want to talk to them about, shipping. I think it's a lot quicker than other places depending on what you're wanting. Like, let me just reach out to them and see what they say. So on Monday, I sent Becca a video. I'm like, hi. I was like, we went shopping this weekend. Like I wanted to talk to you guys and see like what this would cost between this carrot and like talk to Carter. And also, do you guys have financing? Because that was the thing on Sunday. Blue Nile has financing, but Carter's like credit. He has a good credit score, but like his limits aren't that large. Like he has 2 credit cards. I think they only have like $4,000 limits. It's just like not going to qualify him for a lot of money. So he was like, oh my freaking God, So I wanted to ask her about their financing. I was like, this is the deal. He has this debt. Like I was wondering if they would be more lenient for us too. Like if there was a way if we could put a certain amount down and then what the financing would look like, So I'm like, I love them. And I also just wanted him to get the ring through them because I love Blue Nile. I worked with them. They're amazing. Here's the thing. It's all the same. Like these rings, especially when you're getting a basic ass ring like I am. So I'd rather support like a smaller, and I don't know if they're generally even small. I feel like a lot of people, when I talk about Olive Ave, I have plenty of girls who've been like, I got my ring there, but I just loved them. And I want to support the people and the things that I love. And anyways, so she gets back to me and she's like, oh my gosh, we would love to, let me talk to him, yada, 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 yada. Well, it's now this awkward thing because Carter got home on Monday and I'm like, babe, I reached out to Becca about Olive Ave and like what that looks like. And I was like, I don't want to overstep and I don't want to, but like, here's the thing. And he was like, oh, frick. He's like, I already got some things rolling. And I'm like, wait, what? Like as of yesterday, as of Sunday, he was like spiraling. I didn't even think it was going to happen in any near future. That's why I reached out. That way we were ahead of the game. But I'm like, what do you mean you have things rolling? And he's like, I can't tell you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Wait, what? I like whiplash. I was fully, you guys, I was like, oh, it's not happening. Not really thinking much of it. But I'm like, what do you mean? But then I'm also trying to like talk about it, but I don't want any information, obviously. So I'm like being weird and I'm like, oh my gosh, babe. Well, I was like, I really would like if you used Olive Ave, but if you already got something going, of course, and they'll understand, but I do love them. So then I was feeling bad and I had just reached out to her. So he was like, no, like, let me reach out to her. I haven't got everything. Like he was trying to be like, whoa, and whatever. And so that I'm like, oh my gosh, like what the heck is happening? And he's like, but I kind of need to get this going. So then he made it seem like it was urgent. So then he made it seem like it was happening soon. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. My nails aren't done. Like I really was not planning on like packing super cute outfits to Hawaii. Like, or even just anything. Like I'm not the girl who like gets done up and I'm like, oh my gosh. Not to say that's when it's going to happen. Cause Carter made a comment. He was like, it's holiday season. And I'm like, not that we need to get engaged or anything. Like, what does that have to do with anything? But he's right. There's just like a lot of stuff. Not that please don't propose to me in Bismarck, fucking North Dakota. That would be my nightmare. Again, with my whole family, again, in the world's ugliest place on the planet. No, but that's the latest. So then I talked to Becca a little bit about the financing, whatever. I was like, okay, we'll talk to Carter because that's, again, this is like details, whatever. So then I was trying to bring it up again like the night before and he was being so weird. And there was a moment with his phone that he was being weird. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're hiding things from me, which has never been the case. And I was like extra alert to it. I'm like, ah! But I'm also like, who knows? Like, do I start reaching out to his friends? Like, somebody tell me something. I'm so nosy. Because that's scary. And it also feels weird that he's like hiding something from me, which is obviously a good thing, but it's such a whirlwind. But that is the latest and greatest, you guys. The ring, I think, I don't know. Honestly, it goes up in the air. Like on Sunday and Monday, I was fully convinced it probably wasn't going to happen soon. But now I'm like, he's like definitely getting things going. Oh, also, oh my gosh. And the correlation that I'm putting together is I told him about my friend Austin and his wife and how he like did the coffee and did the whole day, which was like so fresh. He picked out a dress for her, which I'm sure she already had or like they knew because that's a hard thing. Like I don't want Carter picking out a dress for me. But anyways, he came home Monday and we were talking. I was like, oh my gosh, babe, wait. So like, this is happening? Like I was trying to be like, oh. So I'm like, oh my God. So I need cute outfits in Hawaii. He's like, don't even worry about it. Like I've got it all covered. I'm like, bitch, wait, what? Not my outfit. Cause like you don't, Carter is like the quintessential person or like man. If Carter were to pick out the necklace for me or a necklace for me, it's like the heart. If he were to like pick, I just feel like he knows what I wear and what I like, but men just have that brain where it comes to clothes and things that they just like really don't know what's going on. Like what they think we would like, or they just pick what they would like. Even when we were picking out rings, like Carter would like pick the halos or the one with the crazy things. I'm like, this is exactly why you can't let a man pick. Cause I'm like, that shit to me is heinous. Like that's just my opinion. But I'm like, I don't want that. So I'm like, babe, listen up. Open up those ears. Don't follow your gut instinct. It's just like, I don't know what that is. It's almost like also your mom buying you clothes, like, you know, or your grandma. They just like have no idea. I don't know if it's like an idea of what they want you to wear, what they think you would wear. It's never even fucking close. It's similar to that. So I'm like, what do you mean you have it all covered? Like my outfit? Like what the fuck are you talking about? So now I'm like spiraling. I'm spiraling. But all of that to say, that's the update. Let's talk about wedding culture. Let's talk about the freaking crazy mess of engagement and weddings and all of it, because I made a video and a lot of people were messaging me about wearing white. Everybody's like, you need to wear white. You need to wear white. And in today's day and age, we have been just like blinded by social media. And I'm like, I'm not going to wear white every single day of my life until he proposes. In case he proposes, like, I don't want to live like that. And also, you can wear white anytime. Like, why on your engagement? I just like don't get it. And it just has become a thing. And of course, like if you like white, if you want to be wearing white, like if that is your preference, pop off. That's just not me. Like, I don't want to be wearing boring ass white in Hawaii. I want to be wearing like blues and florals and like, I don't know, color. Sue me. So that's my first gripe. As far as engagement, I wanted to talk about obviously the lab versus the natural, which I did, like engagement rings, proposals. My worst nightmare, which we might be going to Disneyland over Christmas, Disneyland. If there were one instance where Carter were to propose and I would say no, it would be at Disneyland. That is just like low key my literal worst nightmare. The people, like everything about it. That's just not my vibe. And there are people that makes sense for you. Pop off. Again, do whatever you want. And that is that. Okay, then we get into the engagement party, like the surprising with the family. And again, these things have just become like the standard. And we see it on social media, which also, if it is a influencer that you are seeing weddings and engagement and all of this, like that is their job. Number one, they are probably getting paid to like use certain things. Like they need things to post about. Like, you know, every influencer bitch who like gets engaged and then gets married and starts having kids, like they need content. Like half of it is for content, which makes sense for an influencer, but like not everyday normal people like you and I need to be like doing these things, which you can if you want, but like that's where I'm like, okay, does this make sense for you? Or did you just see this somewhere? Like, again, the flying in of the family, I could see how people would love that and it makes sense. And it's so cute. And I love those videos. But for me, no. And this is another thing that I think I've talked about on here, but especially when it comes to weddings and the planning, like, number one, if I didn't see this on social media, would I even know that this thing existed? Or would I even be thinking about doing this? And if I couldn't post this on social media, would I do it? Like, those are two questions that I would ask myself, or have you ask yourself when planning, when doing anything. Like, if I couldn't post about this thing, would I still do it? Or like, would I want to do this? Yes or no? Because I think without even realizing it, we're like, we do these things and do the crazy themes and all of this just to post on social media. But it's like, who are you and what do you enjoy? Like, what do you want? To me, the most important thing in this life is like my experience and like real moments, and you know, my friends and my family in the moments that I want, like the precious real life things, you know, not posting. Like, for a birthday party, for example, like if it was my 30th birthday party, I don't want a motherfucking cowboy theme. I don't want a theme. Like, that's not me. I just want to be around the people that I love. Does that make sense? So like, again, I'm not saying that needs to be your opinion, but I'm just like, if you could not post, some people, they just love a fucking theme. They just love to go all out, balls to the walls. Okay. And that is you. That is nanny mom. This bitch loves to throw a party. She doesn't post on social. Like, she just loves hosting. She loves a theme. She loves like parties. Amazing. Do that. Like, that makes sense. But I think a lot of us, we see things online, so then we think we need to do it, or now it's just been like accepted and everybody just assumes that for your wedding, you have a million parties. What is this? An engagement party, a wedding party, a bridal shower. Like, there are so many things now. And I'm like, what is the difference? Like, you're having an engagement party, but then you're having a bridal shower. Like, what? I just like I cannot understand it. And I don't like hosting and I don't like doing social things. So I could not think of anything I would want less than all of these parties. Okay, again, personal opinion, but also the cost. And okay, Brenna, you're getting ahead of yourself. Okay, so then engagement. So they surprise with the family and then it turns into a whole weekend. And then, you know, they have the engagement party and the friends and like the whatever. Okay, so then we move on and we have bachelorettes, which if I were to have a wedding, I would not even have a bachelorette group. I would, in my perfect world, if I did want to have a wedding, I would have like my two best friends here in Dallas. One of them is a makeup artist, so that bitch would be doing my makeup. Okay, I would pay her before anybody gets mad. I would have her, and because like it would be fun and like getting ready. And then I would have my friend Natalie, and I have other girlfriends that live far away. But again, like I would, if they could come, because I would never pressure anybody to come if they couldn't. Okay, this is in my ideal world. If they were there, then just like get ready with us. So fun. Like, I want to wake up on my wedding day. My dream setting would be to wake up, to have my coffee, to go on a long walk, to then go wherever we're getting married, be there with my friends, have more coffee, have food, get ready, do the thing at like 2 p.m., get done, or no, maybe even later, and then just like have a dinner and then go home. I don't want a reception. Like, that is just truly what I would do. So I wouldn't have bachelorettes, but the thing with bachelorettes as well, am I saying that correct? Bridesmaids. Oh my gosh. See, this is just like how out of it I am. Bridesmaids. The bridesmaids now, there are bridesmaids boxes. When you ask them, you need to have fucking gifts. And it's like, what are we talking about? Number one, like in this economy. Number two, like what is the reason? Like, should you asking them to be in your wedding not be like special enough? Like, we just have started to take things to the nth degree. Bachelorette trips, like now they are all weekend long. I am not shitting you, you guys. Oh my gosh. Can I tell you a story really quick, which this might not be the best thing to put online, but when my brother and his wife were getting engaged, I told those bitches time and time again, well, maybe once, I don't need to be a bridesmaid. I was like, do not feel because I am your sister, I need to be a bridesmaid. Like, I will not be hurt at all. I don't care. I don't care. I will just be happy to be there. If you want me to be, I will be. But I'm just saying, like, if you have been in a weird place, because like me and my brother's wife are not like close. Like, I love her to death, but we don't talk. Like, I see her at the holidays, obviously birthdays and things, but it's not like they live in Minneapolis. I haven't even seen them in 2.5 years. I'm going to see them for the first time over Christmas. So it has nothing to do. I'm just like, I'm not your, but like, have your best friends, have your sister. Like, that makes sense. Don't feel like I'm going to be butthurt because I could not care less. Okay, is all I'm saying. So I told him that. Well, she asked me to be a bridesmaid, which was so sweet and amazing. Well, it was 3 of us, sister, friends, and then her sister was the maid of honor. And when I tell you that, number one, they were wanting to do, or her sister was wanting to do like 6 days in Miami. And I told them, I was like, I will pay whatever. I just didn't want to be a problem. I'm like, I don't care about the planning. You guys choose. I will pay you all the money in the world. Just do it. Because we had a group chat, obviously without his wife. And there was one girl who could, like, number one, 6 days. Like, I had a job at the time. I was a real estate associate, whatever. So I could work and like do the thing. But one girl, she had her own wedding. She had a child, right? She was like, I can't do this. I'm not kidding you. My brother's wife's sister got mad at her. And I'm just like, what the fuck are we even talking about right now? Like, number one, you were asking her 6, like, she can't afford. Like, the worst thing in this world is to have financial problems, struggle, debt. Do not guilt this woman into going into debt or more debt for this party. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, it made me like lose my mind. It was like so crazy. And then I got chewed out and it was like this whole thing. That girl ended up not even coming to the wedding, not being a part of the party. It was so sad. And I texted her privately. I don't know who this is. I only knew her because we were in this thing. It was just it was too much. It was too much. And again, like, that's the thing. If you want to have the 5-day bachelorette, if you want to do the weekend, do that. Like, of course. But number one, like, accept if these are your friends and people that you love, like, you should be okay with them saying they can't go. And to expect your friends to pay thousands of dollars, because at this point, the new $20 bill is like $100. Like, everything just goes so fast and it's like so expensive. Not only are they buying a dress, the wedding weekend, like, there's so much stuff. And I don't know how people aren't aware of that. Like, that's all I can think about. Like, if I were in a financial place right now, if I were to do those things, I would only do something that I was able to pay for everybody, or like not do it at all, because I'm too keenly aware of finances and other people's money. And when we met Carter's friends in San Diego and they were talking about how they're doing it in Italy and it's cheaper. It's like $7,500 for everything. And like all they're doing is having their friends and family. And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. But then I was thinking about my family. My family cannot afford that. Like, not afford, but it would put some of them in a weird place. And I just like would never ask that. So I'm like, I could never do that. I'm just like too aware. And like, oh, I would hate that. You know what I mean? So it's crazy to me that some people like expect everything out of their bridesmaids. But then also, like, if you said no to being a bridesmaid, like, that girl or a bridesmaid would get mad at you for saying no when you're just like really trying to like create a boundary and not want to spend. Because at this point, accepting a bridesmaid request is like signing up for at least $1,000 venture, if not many, many more. Like, it can get so expensive. And also, like, I understand some people have parents that can pay for things and help, and that's incredible. And again, like, if that's your world, pop off, do whatever if they can pay for everything. But then also, oh my gosh, in my poll, a lot of people were saying that their parents are paying, but now their parents are trying to tell them what to do and who to invite. I'm like, fuck no. Fuck no. And shame on your parents for like not letting you have your own day and remembering, like, I get it, it's their money, but it's also like, I would rather than not use their money and do it exactly how I want, even though that's like a major privilege, than to have like them overstep and invite who they want and do all of those things. Like, that's so gross and weird to me. Don't you think? Like, I just... my problem is that I'm so easygoing and I don't care about things, and I'm so empathetic to other people, and I feel like other people, you know, I see things from their point of view. And so it's so hard for me to grasp when people come in and start telling you like, or even I got some responses that were like, the parents aren't even paying, but my mom's trying to tell me to do this, this, and this, or to invite these people that I don't know. Like, that is so crazy. That is crazy behavior. If I could give one tip to mothers, which thankfully I don't have a mom like this because our relationship is not good at all and hasn't been. However, like, the one thing I am grateful for is that I don't have a mom who's like in my life. Like, moms just have a way of like, being so overbearing. And I'm like, how do you not see, like, this is your child's wedding day or your child's spouse, like whatever the thing, if it's your mother-in-law, if it's your own mother, what do you mean? You are a human being. If you were getting married right now and you had somebody above you telling you what to do, how would you feel about that? You are doing that same thing. Like, I just cannot understand when people don't see themselves as like what they are. I don't know if that was like a stupid rant, but do you get what I'm saying? Like, I just can't understand that. Okay, let's keep it moving. So the whole bachelorette trip, and it is hard because like, I did a bachelorette trip way back in high school, or not high school, college, when my cousin, who's like my sister, got married, and she drove from her town to Fargo. All of us girls, we drove to Minneapolis. It was a weekend. It was like a wild game, and we learned to dance, and we did all of these things, but it's like so hard. You either have to opt in or opt out. And like, I wish there was a way. The whole thing is just kind of nuanced, or like do a dinner. And I know this is a hard thing about today's day and age too. Like a lot of us have friends in other cities, so it's just like hard, but I don't know the solution, but I think like we just need to stop doing things one certain way. Like, do what makes sense to you. Then go see your friend, like do a trip. If I did a thing, if I did a wedding and like wanted to do something with my girls, I would take and ask, and like I again would like pay for an Airbnb. I would want to probably do a beach like Miami or Destin or maybe California, get a house, invite my friends, like if they can afford, if they can't, whatever, and just hang out. Let's just like go somewhere that we all want to go. Let's rent a house, maybe go out to dinner, just lounge around and like be with my people. But again, like no weird fucking pressure. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just like so much for what? For what? And honestly, the amount of drama and like friendship betrayals and like breakups that happen during this time when it's supposed to be like the best, most exciting time of your life, I just cannot understand it. I can't. And also, don't get me started on the wedding being about the couple getting married. Have we forgotten all about that? Like, it is no longer about that. Like, it's about so many other things. And I'm just like, okay. All of that to say, let's keep it rolling. So you got the bachelor, you got all of that bullshit. And then you have a bridal shower, which like, I don't even understand what that is. I also don't understand what like a baby shower is for again. And maybe I'm just not with the times. And I think again, people just do things because they've been done a certain way for so long. Like, no, I don't want that, because here's the thing. If they're going to give me a gift, just give it to me at the wedding. What are we doing? Engagement or like wedding shower for? It just like doesn't make any sense to me. And then when it comes to the wedding day, you guys, all of the weird motherfucking traditions of weddings, and like these things come from the Stone Ages. For example, a veil. I would never wear a veil. Okay, this was like something to either like there's so much misinformation out there, or just different things like to protect the bride from evil spirits. Okay. Or it was like when people got married and they didn't even know who they were marrying. It was arranged. Like they would wear this veil so they didn't see them as they were walking until they got married. That way they couldn't back out. Like quite literally, this is what I Googled online. Okay, that's freaking insane. It is 2024. Bridesmaids and groomsmen in general, like the best man was there to protect the bride, or like in case anybody, you know how like way back in the day they would like snatch the bride. Like I remember at my mom's wedding with my stepdad, the groomsmen like picked my mom off and took her off. Like it was again one of these weird fucking traditions. Well, the groomsman, so to speak, or like the best man is there to like protect and like be able to fend off if somebody were like to take the bride. And the maid of honor was there to like deter, I don't even remember, like all of these weird things. And it's like, why are we still doing this? And if you are very like, I understand that weddings are sacred. If you're religious, there's like a deeper meaning to you. But for a lot of us, like for somebody like me who isn't deeply religious, and like the whole purity thing, like that is why a lot of it is the way it is. Like why women wear white, and like it's all about being pure and like whatever. I'm sorry, I'm not pure. I'm sorry. Me and my boyfriend have actually had sex. Like it just really, if we're going down to like why we're doing these things, I have already failed all of them. So what am I even doing that for? And not that you can take a tradition as far as you want. You can do it just because it's a tradition, or like really think about the meaning. A daddy-daughter dance. Like, why is that a thing? My dad's so awkward. I don't want to dance with that man. I don't want to dance with him in front of everybody. Like, I just could not think of anything. Me and my dad also would want to do less. Like, my dad wouldn't want to do that. Why would I make him? Same, you know, like Carter and his mom, maybe they would want to, but like, then, you know, we don't even recognize the bride's mom. We don't recognize the groom's dad, or like they give a speech. And like, why is this all the way it is? Honestly, here are my thoughts. Like, I think we should all start doing weddings like with our own little quirks and things and what you want to do. Like, no offense. And every single wedding I've been to has been wonderful and amazing and cool and fun and fresh. Oh my gosh, the food, people are catching on to this. There's a lot of catering food trucks. Like people are getting with the times, which I love. I would love to go to a wedding and like be shocked that things are different. Like, why aren't we doing weddings to our individual tastes? Like, I would love that. And like, I love when I see people do different things. We're kind of getting there, bridesmaids dresses used to all be the same. Like at my cousin's wedding in 2016, we all wore the same dress, right? And now we're to the place where like the dresses can be like one color, but like different styles. For my brother's wedding, we had like this color, but then you could pick whatever style. Amazing. Like, we're getting there. Some people now don't have the bridesmaids stand up there. It's just them, or they're switching them around. Like, all of these little things, like, just do whatever makes sense to you. Like, I love that. I would love to go to a wedding and like have it not be traditional, like do things a little bit differently. It's always like you show up, you sit there, it's the thing, then it's the cocktail hour, then it's the reception, and it's like the welcoming of the people, and then it's like the same bullshit. Like, can we not have some individuality? Is that how you say that? Sorry, I tried to say it twice, but then I said it the same way. Like, I don't know. And I get it. Again, it's tradition. Like, this is why we do it. But I would just love to see different things and like something that makes sense for the couple. Like, it was so funny seeing my brother get married. Like, he literally doesn't drink. He fucking hates people. Like, that is the least Brandon thing ever. And I'm like, that makes me sad for him. Like, he literally came up to me on the date. He was like, can you believe that we spent this much money on this for one day? And I'm like, no, I can't, because I'm not going to. So I don't know. But his wife obviously loves that. And I think her dad paid for a lot of it. And like, you have to find the compromise, and that's just that. But I'm like, can we just do things a little differently? Like, do we need the tradition? Like, you can keep some traditions and then add your own. Like, I'm all for the TikTok videos when people talk about things that they did differently. I love that. But all in all, oh my God, the cost, like, we honestly all need to just like boycott doing weddings. That way the industry will come down, because the thing is, people are paying those numbers because they want to have a wedding. So then they just keep going up and up and up, and it's crazy, but people are paying. I don't know why. Going in debt for a wedding, like, I can't get behind that. I can't. And I don't know, call me a loser, call me no fun. It's just not my thing. And I don't recommend it to anybody. Wait, I think what Carter and I will do is we'll get engaged, and then we talked about this before. Like, I would just love to go to a courthouse right after, or like not immediately after, but like whatever, a few days, weeks, whatever. But I think he wants to like plan it on a weekend. That way we can go to the courthouse on a Friday and then go on a trip Saturday and do just like essentially a honeymoon, but just like a trip in probably Europe, if I had to guess, and just like do an us thing and not like elope, not do anything there, but just like have a special week that's like our week. And that's amazing. Like, that's all I want to do. I don't want to have people involved. I don't want to have a wedding. Like, I just want to have special moments for us. I also don't want to like put ourselves in debt when we want to buy a house and want to potentially have children. Like, what the fuck am I spending? Even $10,000, which like isn't even possible anymore. Like, $10,000 is like, like, that's how much a venue is. But I'm saying, if for some reason we could make it $10,000, even still, no, for what? Call me a cynist, call me a loser. I can't get behind it. All in all, my statement about weddings is, I want weddings to be about the two people getting married, and I want it to be so them and what they want and who they want to be there. Like, if you feel somebody's pressuring you to invite a certain person or do something a certain way, fuck no. It is your day. And I think people are getting to this place. You are just throwing this huge party for other people. Like, that's what it is. It's like not about, it is, because like everybody always says like, don't you want all the people you love in a room together? No, actually, I could not think of something I want less. And that's just my personal opinion. But I just think you should do, when it comes to rings, when it comes to a proposal, to the engagement, like, do whatever the hell you want to do. You don't have to do the traditions. Like, you don't have to invite Aunt Kathy if you don't want to. Like, I truly believe there are people in my family I would not invite. Okay. And pretty close people to us that I would not invite, because why am I going to have people at my own wedding that I don't want there? That is all. Anyways, love you guys. Thank you for listening to me rant. We'll continue this conversation, but happy Monday. I will see you guys next week. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and that's all. Okay. Bye, guys.